What if your wife's so-called nagging wasn't criticism, but a desperate attempt to feel heard? Let's be real. There's a voice tone that every husband knows. You hear it and immediately think, oh boy, what did I do now? But what if the tone wasn't about what you forgot, but what she feels is missing? This episode is going to flip the script. We're diving into how to interpret your wife's most frustrating patterns and turn them into the connection you both actually want. What if her repeated complaints are actually emotional signals? And what if learning to read them could stop half your arguments way before they even start? My name is Will Bridges, and this channel is built for husbands who want to grow, not just get by. No guilt trips, just truth, practice, and progress. You're not alone, and you don't have to guess your way through this. Today, we're going to unpack 5 powerful truths behind your wife's nagging and how to respond like the man she hopes you'll become. The first thing is what she really means when she repeats herself. And then secondly, the emotional need hidden behind her tone. And then third, why dismissing her creates emotional distance. And then fourth, how to respond without defensiveness. And then finally, number 5, how to turn tension into trust. Each lesson comes with a mini practice activity you can try alone or together, because growth doesn't come from knowing, it comes from doing. Before we dive in, write this in your journal or drop it in the comments. When your wife says it over and over, what's the emotion she's really expressing? Start there. The answer might be the key to everything else. She's not reminding you because she thinks you're dumb. She's repeating herself because she doesn't feel heard. Repetition is her last tool to be seen, understood, and emotionally reassured. Repetition in marriage is rarely about memory, it's about emotional memory. She doesn't want to feel forgotten. It's like a smoke alarm that keeps beeping. It's not broken, it's warning you something deeper needs attention. The next time your wife repeats herself, don't defend, pause and say, hey, you said this before. I hear you. Tell me why it matters so much. Then just listen to her. Tone gets our attention, but what's underneath gets to our hearts. When your wife's tone gets sharp, what she might really be saying is, I feel invisible, I feel exhausted, I need help, but I don't want to beg. Frustration is often grief in disguise. Think of your wife's tone like a thunderstorm. It may be loud, but it's coming from clouds full of pressure that haven't been released. When your wife uses a harsh tone, take 10 seconds to breathe and then respond. You sound overwhelmed. You want to talk, or do you want some space? Give her the emotional room without shutting her down. Every time we roll our eyes or walk away or say something like, you're overreacting, we teach our wives that her voice doesn't matter. Dismissal isn't just disrespect. It's rejection. What you minimize emotionally, she multiplies internally. It's like hanging up the phone while she is still talking. Eventually, she stops calling. Pick a moment, just one moment this week, where you usually brush her off. Instead, turn fully toward her, make eye contact and say, okay, help me understand, and watch what happens. Defensiveness is like armor. It keeps you safe, but also keeps you disconnected. The goal isn't to win the moment, it's to understand it. When you defend yourself too quickly, you lose the chance to grow together with your wife. It's like turning up the music when the check engine light comes on. You're ignoring the message because it makes you feel uncomfortable. In your next disagreement, pause and say, is there truth in what you're saying, even if I don't like how it sounds? Then reflect, don't react. Trust isn't built by these grand gestures. It's built in moments of pressure. How you respond in tension tells your wife whether you're safe or if you are still learning. Every moment you respond with calm, clarity, or care, you deposit trust. Like a muscle, trust strengthens with each repetition, especially under stress. Tonight, I want you to do this. Ask your wife, what do I do that makes you feel safe? And what do I do that makes you feel small? Just listen. Don't justify it. Don't fix it. Just listen to her. Sometimes what your wife is saying reflects what you have stopped doing. Your wife's voice is often a mirror, not some megaphone. When she raises her volume, ask yourself, what in you needs to be more present? more patient, more proactive. Your wife's voice might be reflecting your emotional absence, not amplifying her flaws. It's like a mirror showing you spinach in your teeth. It's not attacking you, it's revealing what needs attention. Try this. Each night this week, write down one way you showed up well for your wife, and then write one way you could have done better. This builds the emotional awareness that makes you a stronger man and partner for your wife. Let's recap. Repetition means your wife does not feel heard. Your wife's tone hides an unmet need, and dismissing your wife's voice creates disconnection. Defensiveness builds walls instead of building bridges, and trust is built during tension and not ease. And here's the bonus point. Your wife's voice might be reflecting you more than you realize. If this gave you insight, leave a comment, and if you're serious about growth, not just surviving marriage, but thriving in it, subscribe and stay tuned. And wives, I see you too. That's why I've created the I Will Be the Best Wife Ever. If you're ready to grow, respect, and communicate better too, I've got something for you. And if you want to reflect daily on what kind of partner you're becoming, be sure to get the I Will Be the Best Today journal. The link is in the description below so you can stay grounded and you can grow with purpose. Remember, subscribe for daily truth, growth, and marriage tools that work. Let's grow, let's heal, and let's be better than yesterday.